Good morning, my fellow hookers. How are you this fine, sunshiny, glorious morning? We've had a little bit of rain this morning so far, so that's even better. And today I thought for those of you who didn't want to make the sweater shawl, I thought I would go forward, or for those of you who are finished your sweater shawl and now we're working on something different, I thought I'd go with a basic granny square. Now the granny square can be used to make blankets. It can be used individually to make blankets. So you make 100 of this size and then sew them all together, or you can just continue to stitch and stitch and stitch, adding squares as you go along and make this huge. I call this my Rice Krispie stitch. It is super easy, super mindless. You don't even have to think. Once you get past the first couple of rounds, you don't even have to think. But I also wanted to show you two different, very, very different, made out of the same yarn, made with the very same hook, made with the same tension, same everything. And as you can see, I've got one that is lovely. Oh, it's upside down. Sorry, guys. It's lovely. It's perfectly square. I've got nice corners, and then I've got this lumpy looking thing here. I've not blocked this one. It's just how it's made. This one is made in a much more traditional manner, and it just looks funky. It curls up. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. The back looks funky from the front. This one, the back looks exactly the same as the front. And there is a reason for that. So over the years, I've picked up tricks and new hints on how to properly do stuff and how to properly make these. And now when I make a granny square, I don't even have to block my granny squares anymore. With using this method, the old-fashioned method, I would have to literally moisten it and then block it. And I would have to leave it until it was dry. With this one, I don't. All my sides are equal. Everything looks perfect. This one is a little more jutty-outy because this is my beginning. This is my corner that I always start on. So it's a little more jutty-outy, but once you get them all together, it's a perfect square. And again, this one, not so much. Like even if I flatten it, it doesn't look like a perfect square. So we're going to put this one aside for show because we don't want to make yucky ones. So I've got some handy dandy yarn here. It is the exact same kind of yarn. It's just a Bernat Super Value. There's nothing special to it. It is just yellow. That's it. Yellow for my yellow sunshiny day. So now with this yarn, you can use a 5.5 or you can use a 5. Today I'm going to be using a 5 because that is what the yarn calls for, is a 5. So that's fine. We'll just use the 5. So we're going to create, excuse me. We're going to create our slip knot. So hold on to, wrap around, slip under, pull through. And again, there are so many ways to make a slip knot. That is just the one I find the easiest. It's the one my mom used before me, and just about every hooker that I've ever been involved with has used that. So I'm going to put my bowl aside. And the reason I'm using my bowl is because I am going from the outside in, so it's just easier not to lose my yarn by using the bowl. All right, so now you can use, like I said, you can use a magic circle on this, or magic ring, sorry, to start it. If you're going to be using a number of granny squares, I don't recommend the magic ring. I recommend the chain 4 or 5 and then use that to create a circle. Only because I did it once. I was making hexagons, not granny squares. I was making granny hexagons. And a lot of my hexagons, when I washed it, the middles fell out of them, and I had to very carefully reattach them and restitch them. And it was just a nightmare. So the easiest and best way for security of that center, I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 5. Okay. And then I'm going to look back at my very first chain. Okay. There it is. And I'm just going to catch one. You don't have to catch more than one. And I'm going to pull through both. Okay. Let's do that again. So I've got my chain 5. I'm going to go through my first chain, not the knot. Okay. I want the chain. I'm going to pull through, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. So now I've got a ring. Okay. So again, we're going to start with that standing double crochet. So we're going to do the twist, push through the center of that ring, yarn over, pull through, oops, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Now this little end, we're going to work it in as we go, okay? So I'm going to do another double crochet. I'm going to do a double crochet, yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, we're going to do one more crochet in this cluster. Yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. So we have 3 double crochets. Now we're going to create our first corner. 1, 2 chains. That's it. Our corner is made. Now we're going to do 3 more, another crochet cluster. And all the while, I'm keeping my end secured underneath those stitches because it's going to help me by securing that end. And also so I don't have to do quite so much fiddling at the end with all my ends. Okay, so I'm going to do yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. That's 1. Yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. That's 2. Yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through two, pull through two. And now I'm going to chain 2 because we've created our cluster. So now we've just created our second corner. Okay, we have to do 4 of these to make a square. I mean, that's kind of obvious. I don't know why I had to say that, but I'm sorry. So, and then we go yarn over and then pull through 2. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's 3 corners or three sides of our square. Now I'm going to make that 1 corner and I'm going to yarn over, pull, and then make my double crochet, make 2 double crochets, and make 3 double crochets. Okay, now that was kind of fast. Because I have all the tutorials on how to make double crochet, or the tutorial on how to make the double crochet, I did this fairly quickly. Go back, review it, see what I did. It is really super easy, but we're getting to a tricky part now. One of the reasons, okay, you can absolutely chain 2 and then slip stitch into that, but we're not going to do that. Again, I'm going to show you how to make a nice, even, nobody's going to be able to see which corners you are. And, you know, if I take a look at this, and if I didn't have my end here, you really couldn't tell which corner was my joining corner, and it's this one. And again, the only reason I can tell is because I've got this here, and it is a little bit, oh, that's very, I'm going to have to close my curtains, aren't I? There we go. Let's just, might have to close my curtains. Sorry, guys. So I can see a little bit of a difference. There's a little bit more texture here than there is at the other 3, but for the most part, it's good. I'm happy with it. And this is what's going to hide that corner. You're going to do a half double crochet, but you're going to do it differently. So yarn over for your half double. You're going to find that top of that very first standing double crochet. You're going to stick your yarn. Hang on. Sorry, guys. There we go. Stick your yarn through both sides of the V. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 3. So basically what you've done now is you set yourself up so that you're in the middle of that stitch. And that's what you want. There are many ways to do this. This is the one I find works for me the best because I am going to create that one more time for you so you can see it because it's going to set me up when I do my next round. So I've got my hook on, I've got my loop on my yarn. I'm going to yarn over. Okay, so my yarn over, and I'm going to find the 2 loops of the standing double crochet. So you've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets here for the beginning. You want to go through that standing double crochet. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, we're going to be doing that a couple of more times, so don't think I'm going to leave you in the cold. Okay, now as you can see now, I have a really nice little square started. I'm going to flip it over. And you're going to go, wait, nobody ever flips their squares over. Exactly. And that's where you have the problem. So now I'm set up beautifully because I'm in the center of my stitch here. So I'm going to pull up so I can create my standing double crochet. I'm going to do the twist. I'm going to come over, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There we go. Now I'm going to complete the cluster by doing 2 more double crochets. Okay. But now I have to add on, because if I go directly into this, if I go directly into here, all I'm going to end up with is a cup, and I want a square. So I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do 3 double crochets, 3, and I'm going to create, come on you, there we go. I'm going to create my corner by 2 double crochets, 1, whoopsie, 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. And I'm sorry, that was 2 chains, not 2 double crochets. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to chain 1. That's creating my side. And then we got 1, 2, 3 double crochets, create the corner, 2 chains, and 1, whoops, 2, and 3 double crochets. Okay, now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to go into the next corner, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to create my corner, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to create my side, chain 1, and now I'm back at the beginning again, because this doesn't take very long to get through these first few rounds. So now I'm back at the beginning, so I need to complete that cluster, 2 and 3, and now I need to create my corner again. Sorry, my nose is itchy, guys. So I'm going to do my half double crochet, but I'm going to do it to the top of that first standing double crochet. Okay, so I've got those 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I've taken and I've created my half double crochet through that corner. Okay, and you can already see this is laying nicely. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And all I did to change that was create my corners a little bit differently, and I turn it. That is all that's different from any other granny square out there. And this way you've got, basically your granny squares are now universal. You can do, you can do them on either side. They're front and back, it doesn't matter because they're going to be exactly the same. And you can see, hang on, let's pull these back here. There we go. And you can see a little bit of a difference. Let's get rid of our new one that we're creating. How you can see the stitch, the stitch, the stitch, and then the stitch, right? With this one, you've got kind of the half backward stitch, and then the stitch that you normally see, the backward stitch, and then the stitch you normally see. And that's what happens when you, so now you've got a reversible granny square. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And they're going to look exactly the same. Like if you have a whole blanket of granny squares and you've made them this way, it doesn't matter which way you have them because your corners are going to look exactly the same. Your stitches are going to look exactly the same because they are reversible. This one is a little bit not as reversible because if I take and I look at this side, okay, not to mention it's bumpy. So if I look at this side, let's just get that nice and close here. And then I flip it, it looks very different. You can see that all of my rows are facing the same direction, which is totally fine with this kind of granny square. But now it's not reversible. You have to make sure that your granny squares are all the same direction. And if you forget and miss one, it's very, very noticeable. Whereas this one, it doesn't matter because they are exactly the same front and back. Okay. So let's get back to work. So now I finished, hang on, there we go. So I finished my half double crochet. So now I'm going to switch and flip it around, and I'm going to do my standing double crochet. So that's one. I'm going to do 2 more in there. So 2 and 3. Now I'm going to chain 1, but now we see my side. I have to put a crochet cluster in there, double crochet cluster in there. I call it the granny cluster because it's, 3 double crochets, and the grannies are always 3 double crochets. So I'm going to put 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to chain 1 again, and I'm going to do my 1 in my corner. I'm going to do 2. I'm going to do 3. I'm going to create my corner for the next round. Oh, goodness. And I'm going to 1 in the same place, 2, 3. So in every corner, you've got 3, chain 2, and 3. Your corner is always going to be chain 2. Your sides are always going to be chain 1. All right? So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to find my side. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Now I'm going to go to my corner. Oh, goodness. My cat's been jumping on me today, so I'm feeling a bit furry. And I'm going to find my corner, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. My ball doesn't want to move around yet. It's a little bit too big. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to create my corner. 2 chains. 1, 2, 3. So now I've created my second corner. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to do the side. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. Now I'm going to go back to that next corner and do 1, 2, 3. Chain 2 for the corner. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. Create the side. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. 1. I'm going to back at my first corner. 2, 3. And now I'm going to do that half double crochet to join, rather than doing chain 2 and joining, and that is messing things up because you want to start, the other way that you have to do it is you have to do the chain 2, and then you have to start literally where you are, and it just doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to find, there's my 1, 2, 3, and there's my first one, always a bit wonkier than the rest, but that's okay. I got it. And then I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. There we go. Now we've already got 1, 2, 3 rounds done on our granny square. And you can make your granny squares, again, depending on how big you want it. I only made this one 4. This is, for me, I find that this is a really nice size granny square right here. Perfect. So I would just do this one with 1 more round. If I was doing a blanket, I might change color, I might change texture, I might add, forgive me, this is going to make my phone all wonky. I might add some of this stuff for a round. I might add some Karen latte cakes for a round. Whatever. So when I'm making a blanket, again, you know me, I get bored. Oh my goodness, my nails are horrendous. We were out planting trees yesterday. So my nails, like I said, it's gardening season. So yeah, my nails will never be perfect. Anyway, you can have this as many rounds as you want. I've made these big enough to be the top of a double. I've made them into rectangles. I will show you that another day. But for right now, we're just going to work on the square. But yes, you can make rectangle granny square blankets. They're wonderful. I've made different sizes, different textures, and then put them all together with my leftover yarns. I'll leave it at that. But for right now, we are going to finish one more round on our yellow, our sunshiny yellow. So let's switch. So spin it round, do the twist, and push through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2, yarn over, pull through, 2. Okay? Now we're going to do the second and third double crochet in this first corner. Chain 1. Now you can see now, instead of just one granny cluster, now I have to put 2 granny clusters in on the side. So each round you're going to grow by 1 granny cluster. So watch what happens. So I've got the 1 space. I do 1, 2, 3, chain 1 for the side, and 1, 2, oopsie, my tension just went out on me. There we go. And 3, chain 1 for the side, and now I'm back at my corner again already. 1, 2, 3, chain 2 for the corner, 1, 2, 3, chain 1 for the side. So now next time I come around, I will have 1, 2, 3 granny clusters in each side. And that's what you want to have happen. So each time around, you're going to add 1 new cluster for each side. And that's how your granny grows. Oopsie. So let's keep going. I've already chained 1. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, chain 1. I'm going to do another granny cluster. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Now I'm going to go back to the corner. 1, 2, 3, loop. Create my corner, 2 chains. 1, 2, 3. Create the side. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, excuse me, 2, 3, chain 1, and back to the corner. 1, 2, 3, create your corner. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and now we're back at that first corner again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now if you are stopping here, okay, now it is quite, oh goodness, that's why, there we go. Now if you're stopping here, okay, and this is going to be the end of your granny square, you can choose to chain 2 and then slip stitch into that very first that very first double crochet. That's fine. We're going to do that because what we're going to do is we're actually going to eventually stitch all these together. But I want to start a granny square series and I want to know how you guys feel about that. This is just a very, very, very basic granny square. There are so many others, from changing colors and doing a basic to all of that other stuff. Oh, it looks like I got my tension a little tight there. That's okay. So you got a choice. I can do a granny square series where we can take different stitches, and this is how you would learn those stitches, is by making granny squares. Okay, it's a nice compact way to basically do like we did with our very, very, very first sampler. Okay, except now it's in granny squares. So let me know if you want to learn how to make the different granny squares. And as you can see, okay, this is perfect. Okay, we're going to learn how to join them up in another tutorial because there are several different ways to do it. So make a bunch of granny squares. Let me know how you feel, whether you just want to continue with the basics or whether you want to make all sorts of different ones, because we can make the different ones so that they're exactly the same size, like this one is. This one is a little, I must have done it a little bit tighter, but that's okay because, again, that's what blocking is for. And then you can do that if you want. Continue with this kind of granny square, making lots and lots and lots, or we can learn how to do different ones. So please feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will leave you here. I feel like I'm now just repeating myself, so I will just leave you guys here. Let's just finish our little granny square because, like I said, I want to finish this one. So I'm actually going to chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch to this to this very first stitch. So hang on. To do that, all I do is I push my hook through, grab, and pull through all the way. So there's a slip stitch. There's my granny square. Now to finish my granny square, I don't have to, but I can just do this really, really tight. Give it a snip. Oh, there they are. I have my scissors. Give it a snip. Leave yourself as long or as short as a tail as you want. If you like the idea of being able to join kind of more or less as you go to the colors, please feel free to leave a nice long tail. This isn't going to be long enough. You are going to need about double this. So basically you're going to need to stitch it at least double, if not half again, the amount that per side, okay? But for right now, my granny square is done. Now all I got to do is just do this end in, and that's going to be the bane of your existence if you do a granny square blanket, okay? So let me know in the comments below what you want to do next, whether you want to just do a nice big blanket. I have a number of granny squares done already out of old yarn that I just had little bits and bobs left. Some of them are half one color, half another, half of one size, half another. It's fine. So give your center a nice tug, sew your center in. I guess we could do that together, couldn't we? And with the nice part about this is you don't have to be quite as fudgy about your edges. So it's quite as fussy about your ends, because you've already secured it not only with crocheting underneath, but you've also secured it with a knot at the beginning. But in order to make that circle look really pretty, just bring it around here. Okay, you can see I've gone through just a few, and I'm going to pull it nice and tight. And now you've got that nice beginning where nobody can tell where you started. The only way you're going to be able to tell is if you take a look at it, or if you see this knot at the end. Because what we're going to do now is we're just going to come back a little bit, 1 or 2 stitches ahead. There we go. And we're just going to come back a little bit more. There we go. Give it a nice tug and snip. Oops, there we go. And if you can see, that's not coming out at all. It's going to take a lot to get that out. And that's the way it should be. When you're using that magic ring, there's something called a double magic ring, and that's even more secure. But honestly, this is my favorite way to do granny squares, because this will not come out. It doesn't matter how much you wash it, how much somebody plays with it. The yarn is going to have to wear out before that starting circle comes out. Okay, so in the comments, let me know what you want to make, whether you want to make different kinds of granny squares, whether you want to go on to another project. If you found a pattern that you like, I can contact the pattern creator. And some of them are public domain, but I can contact the pattern creator if they're not, and see if we're allowed to do a tutorial on it. Some content creators or some pattern creators love having their patterns featured on other channels. Some not so much. So let me know if there's a pattern you want to try. And just remember, you are beginners. So be kind to yourself. Don't set yourself up for failure. Set yourself up for success. Having said that, thank you for coming to my Granny Squares tutorial. My name is Sherry. Be kind to yourself, and I am addicted to yarn.